Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Joining me is my buddy, my pal, Ron from England. How you doing?
Oh, I feel like shit today. I've
Yeah,
been most of the day.
yeah, been a
I'm
tough day
grumpy
for you.
as hell.
I didn't sleep for shit last night, so I'm a little bit goofy. But taking care of potential, home situation, and today was the
Oh, that
inspection,
sucks.
so I was right on the phone with the inspector with a friend of mine, and there was a designer giving ideas of what furniture should go where, and God only knows. I'm trying to do this absentee, and I'm going to be forced to go up. I don't have to be forced to go up, but I'm going to have to go up probably sometime in the middle of May and settle there and be without rocks for a couple of weeks. So I'm not real happy about that.
Well, the thing
But
is, I mean, I've moved quite a ways away too, and you got to trust people at the end of the day, and hope that you've got the right people, looking into it, So
we gonna find out. Today, today of all days,
what a weird
everybody.
ass day.
Well, what I can tell you is this: after the Cavaliers lost, everybody's
Oh
got an
God,
opinion, and everyone's entitled to an opinion.
I have
And
one.
everybody says that they're absolutely the be all end all. Right? Go ahead, Bronk. Yours?
Well, I think I'm tired of New York bullying our ass. It was a very depressing game, Friday night and Sunday. So I gave up at the third quarter point of the Friday night game because it was like 2:30 in the morning my time,
Right.
and I knew we were never going to win that game. And then Sunday, I didn't see the first half because I was having a family meal because it was Sunday evening. Have a family meal, but saw the second half, and Darius Garland can only go so far and have a good one quarter, and then the whole team fell apart. Not just Donovan Mitchell. So we're just getting bullied by the Knicks, and if it was a 3 out of 5 game series, we'd be home. But luckily it's 4 out of 7, and we still have a chance. So there you have it.
All right. Well, and I think that a lot of people, you know, uh, people who are in the press, people who are, might as well say, in the press and New York Knicks fans simultaneously. That's what we're getting
Exactly.
on
Oh
ABC.
God.
Former Knicks coaches, former Knicks players. I mean, it's
I
yeah.
mean,
So you get grain
Van
of salt.
Gundy's, if they whatever Van Gundy that is, I don't care. They can all go fuck themselves. You put him, Van Gundy, Spike Lee, Mark Jackson, put them all in a room and let them eat each other and
And
see who
Stephen
comes
A.
out alive.
Smith and all of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
put them all in a room and let them eat each
You
other.
can't
Fuck them.
pay attention to the noise because they're saying, well, you can't have 11 points and be considered a superstar. This is
They can go
so
fuck themselves. I had to
this
turn
is
them off.
blame the guy who's your best player. That would be
Yeah,
one approach that fans take, which take on the biggest target.
yeah,
Uh, but there is a real simplified explanation to what
yeah,
I am seeing. And this team was put together based upon a Twin Towers configuration.
yeah,
Now, the Twin Towers takes into account that you have two guys, one who's very, very young in Evan Mobley, and the other one, Jared Allen, who is kind of the more physical guy who blocks shots, right?
yep,
And
yep.
that, you throw the ball into them, and if they can't get a shot out, they'll throw it out onto the wing to an open guy. And that guy should be able to make an open shot.
Sure.
All right. The whole structure of the thing breaks down because this design was not just by JB Bickerstaff. This design was by the front office.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, the thing that stood out to me is that Jared Allen is not engaged.
Not at all. I mean, they when they did feed him properly in the second half of yesterday's game, he got shots off and made a couple points, but I mean,
It
and we
isn't
got
scoring.
nobody after him now. If we take out Allen and Mobley, we're fucked.
We don't we don't depend on Jared Allen for scoring, but we do defensively and rebounding, and he is absent.
Yeah,
And he reminds me of Andre Drummond, for God's sakes.
oh wow.
He's not trying. He is not engaged. He is playing soft against a team that is playing physically. And this isn't the first we've seen of it. It has been start and stop, start and stop, start and stop the entire season with Jared Allen.
Well, yeah.
And Jared Allen is not some rookie guy.
Yeah.
He knows what he has to do to be effective. And he's not banging with anybody. And several times this year, you know, he had to be given a pep talk. He had to be talked up. And, you know, you want to make as little noise as you possibly can. And of course, for me, I don't, you know, no one listens to this program who's of any significance anyway. But if I were in the front office, I would trade Jared Allen because he is not doing what a guy in this configuration has to do. He's not playing defense. He's not rebounding. He's not. He is literally not blocking the basket and making people's shots harder. He's not even in the picture. He's just not trying hard enough. And I can say that honestly, and I'll look at him dead square in the eye and say, Jared Allen, you're not trying hard enough. And the reason I know is I've seen him do so much better and be so much more engaged.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting bitched around by Hartenstein or whatever it is. I mean, that's no good.
Anyone who's, you know, he had trouble backing Isaiah Quickly to the basket and missed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go in and you draw a goddamn foul. You know, the other thing with Evan Mobley is it's forcing him into his first real playoff environment, and he has sucked a big moose.
Yeah.
I mean, he just
is.
vanished.
We're out of it. Yeah, they're
all
both
that
shit.
All that good stuff that we were seeing from him when he was starting to get it and go to the basket and take it strong has all turned into doubt.
Yeah.
Gets the ball in the key. He doesn't put it right up. Instead, he looks around nervously and head and shoulder fakes, and then throws a line drive off the front rim.
Yeah.
It's more than he's ready for.
Yeah, it's diabolical. You're right.
And that's the other thing. Now, I'm not saying to get rid of Evan Mobley, but I'll tell you one thing.
No.
Something needs to be done for what I consider to be the bigger problem. The bigger problem, I mean, we can just trade Jared Allen and get some guys who can populate our bench because we have no bench.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Lamar Stevens isn't an NBA basketball player. Ricky Rubio is no longer an NBA level player based on what he has done and not done. Neto is not an NBA quality player. You're forced to start LeVert, so his help as a sixth man not there. So you're relying on Jetty Osman to come off the bench and to try to play defense against Brunson. It's insanity. And Jetty Osman is a career negative player in the sense that he turns the ball over and he has moments of brilliance, but then a lot of moments of ineptitude. But so I could see trade Jared Allen, not for another big guy. Trade Jared Allen for guys who can come off your bench. I mean, look at the difference that Josh Hart has made with the Knicks.
Yeah.
You know, you got to find people who fill a specific role. It's the way it works. So if you can't do that, if you don't have a deep enough bench, every injury is going to kill you. and you're not going to be able to have an 8-9 man rotation, which really you need to do. So there's that. But this goes to another issue. The Twin Towers configuration is a failure. Okay? You can say, well, we won 51 games, but you see what Tom the Dunce Thibodeau has even figured out, which is what every team that beat up on the Cavs this past year figured out, is that smaller, faster lineups. I mean, they're doing worlds better without Julius Randle on the court.
Yeah.
When Julius Randle hurt
he
himself,
toilet.
yeah. Well, no, when he hurt himself, he couldn't play, and they started winning all their games.
Yeah.
And they were scoring like 130 points a night.
Wow.
And, they were open court and, knocking down threes, and guys who were like relegated to minimal roles, guys like Obi Toppin and all, was scoring 30 points in several games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and RJ Barrett was absolute toilet the first 2 games. We talked about it on Friday. And then suddenly he comes out Friday night and Sunday and just whips our ass with open shots and draining threes when we don't need them drained.
The difference is their number, whatever pick he was, 3 or 2, a 2 pick, because I think the 3 pick was Darius Garland. He can do what our number 5 pick, Isaac Okoro, can't, which is to hit an occasional open shot from behind the line. I'm not going to tell you that RJ Barrett is a great player. And hi, Chad. It's Chad. Good to hear from you too. And
wow, that's serious.
Oh, what's going on, buddy? I don't like to hear that kind of talk. Oh, wow. Fill me in when you get an opportunity. Holy cannoli! I had heard that there were some potential health issues, but I don't talk about that kind of stuff on the air.
Yeah, we're all getting older. Yeah,
it's it is what it is. What it is. Oh, look at what we got. We got Mr. Talevsky, and look who we got. We got Derek Frisbee. Wow.
The great thing about the NFL, NBA playoffs, fuck it, is that we're not talking about our 105th draft pick that we usually are at this time of the year. Ooh, who are we going to take in the 4th round? Oh my God.
Hey, Chad, are you still living in Ohio? I'm going to hit him over the head with this. I don't need to know where. I was just asking if you still lived in Ohio.
Wait for it, Chad. You're in for it.
Because he used to. I don't know that he still does. Because I'm going to be up there. The home inspection went down today, and there's virtually nothing wrong with the home that we're looking at. So right now it's figuring out how and timing, but green light, go forward. So a cow will be invading Ohio in the not too distant future. Yeah. Move.
Yeah. Back to the.
Hope you have a snowplow ready to go when you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other big problem for the Cavaliers is I don't think that our coach is qualified. And this is hard to do because we won 51 games, and any way you look at it, it's a ripoff if he loses his job.
Yeah.
But
he is very Romeo Crennel-like. I mean, I think we've kind of said that, where he's one-dimensional and players coach, and he ain't gonna get us over the top.
Go get Nick Nurse.
No, we don't need the head nurse. No. What we need, and what scares me, is we have young players who are playing very erratically, and Bickerstaff is screaming his head off at them, and they just continue to play lackadaisically.
And they tune out.
Yeah, and that is my concern. They've got a lot of money. They've got, if they're not wanted in Cleveland, there's a gazillion teams who will want these players when their time's up. And you've got to have teaching people. And there has to be somebody. If Evan Mobley will not, if he refuses to bulk up and get stronger, then he has to go. And I know that nobody wants to hear this.
No,
But
I don't want to hear that.
You can be good at what you do. But this is not just a good business. This is a great business. And if people are going to tell you you're a unicorn, you're a future superstar, Evan Mobley does not have a three-point shot. Evan Mobley does not have good footwork in the post. Evan Mobley does not have a solid fadeaway. Evan Mobley is not strong enough to horse the ball up through people and draw fouls. He tries to avoid contact. And the fact of the matter is that he's only going to take that next step forward is if he has people who take him by the wing and say, here's how you do it, son. This is how you do it. And yelling and screaming like Bickerstaff does isn't teaching. That's just emoting. And there are times when you get into people and rip into them. And then there are other times when you got to have teaching moments with people. But I don't know how JB would have a teaching moment when his idea of coming out in the most important game, game 4, after such a bad game 3, was to go away from the double team on Brunson and to put Darius Garland one-on-one defensively with Brunson.
That was
Now,
never going to work.
Anybody who is that stupid cannot be the head coach of my basketball team.
Wow.
That doesn't make sense. And I'm hearing all the stories. Well, they tried hot. The Knicks were throwing in high pick and rolls and this and that. We don't have the ability, seemingly, to change in midstream. But Tom Dummy Thibodeau does.
Yeah.
He even discovered that he was better off without Julius Randle in the lineup. And he figured out a way in his own Cro-Magnon way, his own Malox consuming way to get Brunson the shots that he needed to get. And sure enough, it's Darius Garland forced to guard him. The man's only 6'1". He's slighter of build, and he's not a defensive player. And if you didn't hear what Garland said about the whole thing, is he was like, well, I wanted to guard him. Well, I don't give a fuck, Darius, what you want.
It's what's best for the team, isn't it?
I mean, it's about winning. It's a fucking winning game. And I shouldn't have to explain this to every Cleveland fucking franchise. I mean, it is about wins and losses, playoff wins, and championships. That's the stuff that fans will judge you by, and that's the way that history will remember you by. And 51 win season doesn't mean crap.
Yeah,
And
you
what
don't get any trophies for that.
You know, there's one guy who I kind of was down on, and that was Karis LeVert.
You were.
And you know something? I eat my words because Karis LeVert came off the bench as a sixth man, and in his heart, he knows that he's not as good as Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, but he found a way to be valuable to the team, and he worked hard. And it wasn't the way that was going to make him multi-millions of dollars. It was a way to make the team better.
Yeah.
And that is what we're not seeing from other players.
Yeah, he's had a good series so far, I think.
They can't decide. Is he coming off the bench? Is he starting? And that's because we have no bench whatsoever. So
I think he's playing quite freely, whereas everybody else has got a pin up their ass.
Yeah. I mean, the turnovers are just ridiculous, and but way too much just not getting to loose balls. The Knicks are playing twice as fast as we are, and
they're an older team too. I don't know how they are playing, but that shouldn't be the case.
And Double P
is right, I think.
Yes, I mean Cro-Magnon Thibodeau has more, but that would mean that the front office got him more help.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is he's getting guys to play a little bit more defense. And you know that Isaiah Quickly isn't saying, hey, put me in, coach, to play defense. You know that Obi Toppin isn't saying, put me in to play defense, but they're doing it. Because
yeah, I mean, what would they have had to give up to get Donovan Mitchell? Could you imagine Donovan Mitchell on the team they got now? But
well, they couldn't.
They would
that would have wiped them out like it wiped out us out.
Yeah,
and that's the bottom line. To be fair to the front office in Cleveland, we suddenly took the route.
We went all in like the gambler.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to go to the superstar thing because we need that. And I'm not questioning that. But it left us literally bare to the bone.
Yeah, but because that's what I've been thinking watching this series. Now, if the Knicks had Donovan Mitchell and we didn't have him, and we still had Markkanen and like 3 other players, I mean, how would it have gone? I mean, maybe the same. Maybe the Knicks would be up 3-1 anyway.
Well, we weren't going to be anywhere without Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
And look, the fact that he had a bad game, and everybody wants to just immediately point fingers at, and everybody has bad games. But the bottom line is there's nobody there to pick him up.
Yeah, exactly.
And what that tells Donovan Mitchell is, why did I come here?
Yeah.
If I have to be Superman every single night, every single game.
Yeah, if he has to pump in 50 every game to get us into the next round, that's not good.
Yeah. So, yes, Thibodeau has more options than we do, and that's why you got to trade Jared Allen and get more options, because you don't have any picks. You have nothing. You have to create something by moving a player, and that's the guy to move. Nice guy, pleasant guy. He's a bow wow.
Well, I mean, the whole team is nice. I mean, the team is probably the nicest team in the league. That's why we're getting bullied. Everyone seems to be a nice guy on the team.
We can play aggressive, assertive defense, but the fact is nothing's consistent with the team because the coach is a yeller and a screamer, and we don't need old Yeller. We don't need an interim coach who can yell and scream and get away with that. At some point, you have to actually communicate with people. And you got to be a salesperson. I mean, these people earn more money than JB does. And, they're not going to take to having a guy yelling and screaming at them all the time. You've got to figure out a better way of communicating with players who are multi-millionaires and going to be even bigger multi-millionaires in the next few years.
It's not just the whole soft thing, but, Mitchell Robinson was clowning them during the postgame, essentially saying they're soft too.
Well, Mitchell Robinson has every right to say that. Mitchell Robinson is pushing our whole team around. Mitchell Robinson looks like the best rebounder in NBA history, and I've seen him play for years, and he sucks donkey dick.
Yeah, he's not fucking Elgin Baylor, for God's sakes.
I mean, but the bottom line is that the Cavaliers are playing to his strength by driving the ball straight into him. They're not able to make proper passes. The passing lanes they're throwing into is just without thought, and they're turning the ball over. And they're, and this guy's always there to leap up and change the shot. Unlike Jared Allen, who's sitting there scratching his balls. Yeah. So that's the problem with the Cavs is they're not deep enough. And during the offseason, these players have to be given a talking to, not a whipping, not a hiding, not yelling and screaming, but they have to be able to be told by, and I'm not just talking about the head coach. I mean, let's get some assistant coaches who are not, like Luke Walton and people like that. But I mean people who've played this goddamn game and who understand the physicality of the game. Let's get somebody who was an enforcer as part of the assistant coaching staff, because that's what they need.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
We're getting bullied. It's just
Mobley's got to be tougher. He's just got to be tougher. That's what it amounts to.
It's really obvious. If they come out like that in Game 5, I don't think I'll turn it off halfway through.
And here's the other thing. When you see headlines like "winners and losers from the Cavaliers' Game 4 loss to the Knicks," there are no winners on a losing team. Can we get through this nonsense that they publish, this trash? I mean, the fact is, one guy has a bad game, so he's a loser. And it's like, no. The team wins together and they lose together. This is how this team was built.
Yeah.
And yes, we have a superstar on this team, but everybody was making contributions during the season, and it has flat out disappeared in round 1.
Yep.
Just gone away.
You're not going to win anything with scoring 80 points a game. You're just not, And everybody knows what we don't have. Yeah.
We don't have a backup power forward. We don't have anybody who's a 3-and-D guy. The fact of the matter is that Josh Hart is out rebounding Jarrett Allen. That's want to.
Amazing.
That's want to. And, they're getting to open balls because they want it more. And you can't have players like that. They're slugs. They're slow and they're docile, and you don't need that. I don't care at this point about anything except the roster, the bench. I will give up the so-called center of this team, because the funny thing is, if you read the stuff that I'm reading, Jarrett Allen is shrinking.
What?
I know you're going to say, what are you? This is like Kyrie Irving's flat Earth theory. But he was listed as a 7-foot center. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he was listed as a 6'11" center. Do you remember?
Wow.
Then he was listed as a 6'10" center. And now he's listed as 6'9".
Really?
It's just his fro's so fucking high.
Oh, you
look at him standing next to Mitchell Robinson, who is a guaranteed 6'10", 6'11" guy. He's shorter.
Wow.
He's not even a good enforcer if he was an enforcer. You realize that if you just want bulk and rebounding, Hartenstein has done a better job than Jarrett Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think I said that earlier. Yeah, definitely.
And that the bottom line of this is that he is expendable because the team needs more. And this is a team game, and we win together and we lose together. And we can't afford to have somebody who is 6'9" or 6'10" or whatever they say he is today, but who isn't trying hard. Enough's enough. I think I've spoken my piece about Jarrett Allen.
I think most Cavs fans out there, they want to try to see if they can get Luka Doncic.
Most fans, look, everybody's got a right to whatever it is they want to believe. But right now, we have nobody who can run our offense when Garland is in foul trouble. And I'm not going to get on Darius Garland. He played a horrible game 3, and he came out for game 4. And if he could have been worse, yeah, he was actually worse. But something clicked in the second half, and he played a better basketball game. But unfortunately, his sidekick didn't have a good game.
Yeah, Garland can't play one good quarter out of 2 games, and us expect to win.
Well, we haven't had a good bench performance in the entire series. So let's look at the bigger obvious problems here. So
I've said this before, but I think dating back to when LeBron was here, this team has just never been able to build good bench depth. That dates back to LeBron's time.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, there were loads of idiots back then.
well, he wanted old guys. He wanted Rajon Rondo and whatever he could, the veterans. But you can see
Shaq
that he was
and-
about winning
yeah.
championships, and you don't win championships with 21, 22, 23-year-old players.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it works. And I see Derek Frisbee is sitting quietly with his microphone off
He's at work, apparently.
while his guitar gently weeps. Derek, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm multitasking. I'm at work, and I'm also, it's funny. Bronky said, good thing we don't have to care about the draft. Well, I'm currently 4 pages in on prospects for the Browns.
Wow, 4 pages in. That's like the scroll down zone. Your thumb gets tired when you're like scrolling that far down the
Dude,
list.
listen, let me tell you something. I'm doing this the old school way. I'm writing it down on pen and paper here.
Good for you.
And I feel like I've been doing homework for the last 4 hours. So
wow.
Well, this is your love,
You
man.
love it,
and
man.
For me,
Carry on.
I'm doing a show that's an hour long twice a week, and the Cavaliers are what's it right now because they're playing in the playoffs. And to me, what the Browns are a team that has to prove itself, and they are going to have to try to figure out a way to pull a rabbit out of a hat because we have an incomplete roster. But we at least have the hope that we have a defensive coordinator finally who is, shall we say, amped up to the level of the game that his team should be playing.
Yeah, a defense that maybe will stop teams from getting 4 touchdowns a game, which is what we haven't had.
And stop them getting run all over.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot like, my complaint about Darius Garland from the game was the strategy that he was used to guard Brunson. We already spoke about that. But it was his, this was J.B. Bickerstaff's explanation as to why Darius Garland was guarding Brunson.
Okay, well, I'm ready for it. I have an idea.
We were planning to send multiple bodies at Brunson anyway, and Darius does a good job executing our game plan and forcing players to the coverages that we were looking for this game, Bickerstaff said. We also put more length and crowds around his isolations. All right. He also referenced pre-switching, one way to counter New York's shrewd offensive adjustment unveiled in Game 3 that helped Brunson shake loose. Plus, Garland wanted the opportunity. Here's the quote from Garland. "I'm guarding him on the defensive end. Yeah, that's a matchup I want," Garland said following the loss. "That's what the people want to see. 2 of the top guards in the East go at it. Fuck you!
We want to see a win is what we want to see.
If I wanted to watch you give yourself a hand job, I'd ask your girlfriend for the video.
Wow.
I don't need you filleting yourself on a stage, a national stage. Yeah, that's what people want to see. No, I can guarantee you, the people who paid to see you, you fucking asshole, those people paid to see you win.
Yeah.
They didn't want to see you one-on-one trying and failing against Brunson, and no head coach should have ever put you in that position in the first place.
Well, no wonder it looked like Rucker Park out there because they had that sort of mentality about it.
But to bring it back to Derek, this reminds me of Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Myles
you scared
Garrett
me there for a minute. I was like, what the hell did I do?
You didn't do
Myles Garrett is a guy talented guy, and he's the first one to tell you, I want 20 sacks. And it's me. I'm going to drive my car as fast as I can and flip it over, and hopefully I'll live. And I'm going to go out and get a couple of sacks, and I'm going to put up gravestones in my yards of the quarterbacks I've sacked, and I'm going to me. It's like, something? Make somebody else better, not just yourself.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And this is not true. Mitchell is one of the highest scoring players in playoff history. So
top 7, I think.
Yeah, so this is an
Well,
inaccuracy by our calf. But
Calf's like old veal now. He's no longer a calf.
He's tough beef.
He's tough and chewy now. He's like beef. He's like calf jerky.
But you have to, if you're Myles Garrett, you can't be lined up in the favorite position every time. You've got to share the spotlight, and it can't be all about you. And, regardless, we may not have great defensive linemen at this point, but the coach they're going to be playing for is not going to put up with this shit. And I want to see that translated to the Cavaliers. I don't want guys just throwing temper tantrums. But you got to learn how to be a man and play the game at this level. It is not easy. So, Derek, what wisdom do you have after
fill the room with your knowledge?
Yes.
Well, I'll throw some draft stuff in. So obviously, we're not picking anytime soon. That's the obvious. Now,
Good.
I heard from people I know that the Browns are in love with receiver Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, which let me tell you something. If he's one of our picks, I'm fucking doing cartwheels shirtless. I mean, I will be so thrilled to have him. He is very similar to Elijah Moore. I keep bringing this up every time I talk about receiver, and Moo, we've talked about it countless times on this show. You have no long-term solutions. Now you have Elijah Moore. You can throw him in that room. But outside of next season, Amari Cooper is a question mark. DPJ's up for contract. Michael Woods just tore his Achilles. He's fucking dead. So the Browns need long-term options. And if they get
Mims kind of a twitch receiver?
So Mims is kind of your Z receiver, which is what Amari Cooper is right now. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. You can use him in multiple different ways. This guy was his freshman year at Oklahoma. People were looking at him as like a first-round caliber pick, but Caleb Williams transferred last year, went to USC. Quarterback play went down. Lincoln Riley wasn't there. And they got a defensive coordinator as head coach. So his production went down drastically. But if you can he's 5'11", 183 pounds. So I'm expecting him to put on some size. But the dude is fast. He ran a 4.38. Like I said, for me,
can he run a pattern though?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the best part about him is there's a lot of these guys in this draft. Like your Tyler Scott, your Jaden Reeds, who are fast, but Mims is the best as far as overall being versatile, and he's not a shitty route runner. I don't get
why would you think he would be available?
Well, so here's the thing. You hear every year that the wide receiver class is outstanding, right? And it has been. I mean, look at what Olave and Wilson did last year. Right. And guys before that, these rookies are coming in and producing early. This year, you don't have that top end in the class. It's more of that rounds 2 through 4 that I would say is where the depth is. And a lot of people think that this class is not that great. I disagree. I think you can get, if you're talking in terms of numbers, I think you can get really good number 2 receivers 2nd to 4th round. And I think the Browns are in prime position. If one of these guys falls, Jonathan Mingo, DPJ's up for contract. Jonathan Mingo has potential to be another A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. He's that good. He just needs some work. That's the thing with these guys. They just need some work. Get them in the room.
Who do we have on the coaching staff who's going to make these guys better?
Well, unfortunately, that is not that's not something that is a positive for the Browns. The only thing I could say about that is Deshaun Watson's throwing them the ball. So That's about the best answer I can give you.
The thing that really scares me in looking at how the offense has evolved, no matter who the quarterback is, the wide receivers never run back to the quarterback. There's never any communication. It's almost like they don't know exactly where they're going and where they're supposed to go. They're not free thinking in the sense that if the quarterback is under pressure, almost invariably the quarterback in Cleveland gets sacked or throws it out of bounds. Never do you see them with eye contact saying, I'll hit you in the open space there. That's not happening. Wide receivers can't terminate patterns in the middle of plays. You're going to end up with losses. Lost downs, lost yardage.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we take a receiver because I could see the Browns punting on it. But I will tell you this: we need linebacker, and there's a few really good linebackers I like that we could grab decently late. So that's the good news.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very difficult. I don't want to see Deshaun Watson turned into a Kevin Stefanski clone. I don't want to see that. I want to be able to stretch the field. I want a quarterback who has vision and who's willing to get the ball to not just the check down guy, but to get the ball downfield to, somebody who is broken open and somebody who is able to use his eyes.
Well, I think Kevin might be changing the offense this year. That's why he brought in Bill Musgrave.
I mean, what does that mean to us? Tell me about Bill Musgrave.
All I know is he worked with him in Minnesota.
Well, why would that be helpful?
Good point.
I mean,
Dear, oh dear.
I think for stretching the field, you know who's going to be nobody's talking about it, but you know who's going to be the best help for the Browns stretching the field is Marquise Goodwin. I know he's old. I know he's lost a step, but having that veteran receiver who can fill out, be your third, fourth receiver, whatever, he's still got enough speed. I mean, shit. I went to a couple games last year, and we've talked about it, or you've talked about it on this show countless times. Slow as shit at receiver.
Yeah.
And boy, in person, that's terrible to see because,
Wow.
I mean, DPJ and guys like that can make catches, but there's no separation. Getting Elijah Moore and Goodwin brings you some separation. So,
well, Goodwin is Goodwin going to be in the same kind of situation as Jarvis Landry? He's been hurt a lot. And, we all loved Jarvis Landry because he was a real rugged, tough team player, but he had nothing left. And nobody,
but
you
he's
don't hear
also
anybody
1 million.
complain. Nobody complained about him leaving in the end based on his performance last year.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't disagree, but Goodwin you're getting for 1 million. Jarvis you had for what, 13, something like that.
I mean, but I'm just talking. Yeah, I get what you're talking about there, but yeah, it just seems like receivers who are on their last legs, quite literally, find a way to get hurt. It's just the body can only take so much, and
That's why
you
you gotta
can't
draft
rely.
them.
Can't
You gotta
rely on
draft.
those guys.
Aren't they potentially looking at another running back as well?
well, they got Jerome Ford, so I guess we're running with him.
That's what it looks like. I mean, there was finally an announcement for the Browns front office that they leaked out that Hunt had lost a step, that he just looked slow.
Yeah.
We all noticed that during the course of the season, that he was bouncing everything to the outside because he wasn't hitting the hole. And
Yeah.
what he was a north-south runner. He was Kevin Mack. He was the guy, and if he got through to the second level, he could make people miss, unlike Kevin Mack, who couldn't. But the bottom line there, and we'll bring Derek back into the studio here. the thing there is that once you're late to the hole, you're done.
The thing with Kareem Hunt, when I was watching last year, was like I was thinking to myself, when did Trent Richardson come back? 'Cause that's what-
Yeah. Oh, we've had a bunch of them. Do you remember when Jamal Lewis came to the Browns?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, you'd end up with guys who just, it's like, there, and but the reflexes, it's kind of like watching a shot fighter. It's like there, and their their reflexes are just gone. They can't do it.
don't have it.
And hey Rev Kowalski, how you doing? Yeah,
Cows are coming home today.
yeah, coming home. It's bovine coming home day.
Both
Hey,
are
if you want a
homecoming.
running back, in this draft, remember the name Deuce Vaughn,
And where is he out of?
Kansas State.
The Kansas State. And what makes him special?
Okay, you're gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I don't mean this as a bad
We
thing.
never laugh at you, Derek.
No, I was going to
Fuck you,
say just the opposite. Even when you say something sensible, we laugh at you. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. He's if I had to describe him, because he's probably gonna go. I mean, running backs go late anyway. He might go probably 4th round at the earliest, probably 5th, 6th round. But to me, he's like the Dollar General Christian McCaffrey. Plays the exact same way. Great out of the backfield, fast, twitchy, small guy. Trying to think. I have his numbers written down here, but oh shit, no, I don't. Anyway, never mind. But as far as how we would use him, he's good strictly as a running back, but he's one of these guys, almost like a Duke Johnson for us a couple years back, just way better, in my opinion.
Yeah. And of course, to the sleeping world, I mean, it's amazing. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. We knew it was going to happen, but we were just thinking to ourselves, they can't really be serious now, can they?
Yeah.
About
I
damn
would.
time.
I've stopped caring,
Well, it's a shocker from the standpoint that the only place that he could go to was a shit franchise, and he's too old to resurrect something, and it never goes well for Woody Johnson. And, it's a hell of a payday, and they're basically, the Packers got rid of Aaron Rodgers, whose attitude has gotten worse along with his game skills, and their 2023 first round pick number 15 and a 2023 fifth round pick number 170. And in exchange for the 2023 first round pick number 13, a 2023 second round pick number 42, and a 2023 sixth round pick number 207, and a conditional 2024 second round pick that becomes the first if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays this season. All right.
Wow, that's a great deal for the Packers because they offload all of his money, don't they?
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting, it says Hall of Fame quarterback and Jets franchise icon Joe Namath gave Rodgers his blessing to wear number 12. And then they realized that Namath wasn't sober when he said it.
Yeah. You can't. Hey.
Yeah. So
Susie Colbert's got an opinion about that.
kiss me, baby.
Thank you. That was one of the
You're
most
so
cringing
cute.
moments of NFL history.
I want to kiss you.
Chef is on
Mike
set.
Tyson, you know something, Susie Colbert? I want to kiss you. I want to kiss you all over and over again.
Exile.
Okay, but that would be getting VD.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. So at any rate, but they're saying that basically Aaron Rodgers, in his true, great, friendly way, said, no, thanks. You can keep your number 12. I'm going to wear number 8, the number I wore in college at Cal. That's so if you see number 8 on the field, that's who that will be. He'll be the slow limping guy who's trying to find a receiver.
Schefter said that more than likely they're going to be the big primetime darlings this year. So we get them on our schedule. I would expect probably we're going to get them on Sunday Night Football because we're already playing them in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, the way that I look at that whole thing, let them show him to the ends of the earth. You know, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
In Tampa, and Rodgers is a fading star at best.
Mm-hmm.
So, put him on national TV and let's watch his demise together. It's just like what happened to Tiger Woods at Augusta. I didn't get a chance to talk about this.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't understand. Is it that people think that they're superhuman and that they can do Navy SEAL workouts in boots and for no good reason, rip their own knee out, then injure their own back, and then get high and run into a telephone pole, and then do something else that they didn't say what he did to roll an SUV and to cripple himself for life? And you want to show him and have him as the paired match, threesome, and and who wants to see three guys getting it on? I don't want to see a golf threesome. That's disturbing. It's like the idea of Tiger and Phil Mickelson going at it. It's like, and I don't mean head to head. I mean head to head. It's scary to me.
Just throwing Kaz Tadano into that one as well.
Oh my God! But he couldn't walk. And now they say he's out indefinitely. He's getting surgery on his foot now.
No, wow.
And so, this will be like the seventh surgery. I mean, when is it time to shut it down? And it's never enough. And so I guess for Aaron Rodgers, it's never enough. He's got to go to the Big Apple because, he graced Green Bay with his presence all these years. And now he's got to move on to the bright spotlights of New York. And
he's probably going to have a similar career trajectory as Brett Favre. Watch him end up in Minnesota after he's done here.
Yeah. I hope he fails.
Can you imagine those?
I hope he fails miserably.
Oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers.
That New York media is gonna eat him alive.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna eat him. I think it's just gonna be a bunch of back and forth all the time.
Especially if they're terrible.
And if you really want to know what the NFL is all about, then I can get the hell out of here. The Titans have said that they haven't received a single call on Derrick Henry. And you're telling me that age and mileage, I mean, you say Derrick Henry and I say Earl Campbell, everybody's afraid that their running back is going to turn into Earl Campbell overnight. And you hit 30 and you're done. The Titans were shopping Henry, not a single solitary call.
There were rumors about the Eagles being involved.
I mean, it's hard to believe. He had 1,538 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns last year, but he wants to be paid for it because he's entering the final season of a 4-year, $50 million contract, and nobody wants to pay him beyond that.
Speaking of being paid, I saw that somebody on NFL Network, one of the draft analysts, I guess, made a prediction. They expect that Lamar Jackson's going to get traded to the Colts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not a good fan base for him.
And then the Ravens will take CJ Stroud. Imagine that.
Well, again, the Lamar Jackson story is bizarre. It's bizarre at best. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but he's another guy who's full of himself, and I'm not real fond of him.
If you ask me, I think he ends up with the 49ers.
Lamar?
Yeah, because they're looking at moving Trey Lance, and Brock Purdy's probably not going to be ready this year.
With what picks?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good point because I think they're only picking the 3rd round.
And nothing new. The 6-17 Colorado Rockies are beating the Guardians 1-0 as the Guardians try desperately to push a single run across the plate. It's really amazing just how bad offensively this team's gotten off to a start. It's amazing they're 11-11. It's the Terry Francona,
Exactly.
effect. But yeah. Quan's gotten 2 hits and nobody else has anything. Quantrill's given up 5 hits in 3 innings with 1 run. And, we'll see what happens. But the Guardians are not hitting. Well, they did yesterday. They finally hit a couple of home runs, but they're just not getting extra base hits there. And the fielding has not been real good. So once I'm out of here, and by the way, with no outs, they have men on first and second. The Rockies do, looking to take a bigger lead. And you get down, a couple of runs, and you're in deep trouble if you're the Guardians right now. They're just, you look at the batting averages of the players. Kwan's at a 261, Rosario at a 253, Ramirez at a 261, Josh Bell is at a 228, Jimenez is at a 253. These guys are, and they're not hitting timely. They're leaving men on base. They're stranding runners. It's tough.
They're just an average team. We just need to get over it.
Well, we need to get to warmer weather or something because these guys aren't doing so good in the colder weather.
Hey,
all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Eric's got something.
I want to say before we run, I got one prediction for the draft. Anthony Richardson goes number 1, and the draft at the top of it gets thrown into a frenzy.
I hope that happens. That'll be crazy to watch.
Oh, believe me, anything is possible. Everybody who jumped in, Derek, thank you. David, thank you.
No problem.
Tucker Rogers, thank you. And thanks to the audience for piping in. Good to see some old faces and names in the chat room as well. We'll be back again.
Take care.
And before we get out of here, that was an out actually. So there was still 1-0 with 1 out in the top of the 4th. So everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll be back again come Friday, and there will come a point where I'm going to be taking off out of town. We may miss a couple of shows because I got a bunch of stuff that I got to do when I get up north. So, we'll play it by ear. Everybody, take care, and I'll see you at the end of the week. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.
Go Cavs.